Welcome back, YouTubers, to another Q&A 157 with us, the British Fist. Of course, here with the Shield, Mr. Parkin, NJ, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns are somewhere in the building, but no doubt they'll probably interrupt the video like they always seem to do on WWE TV at some point soon. If you have any questions you want to ask us, please do! Down in that comment section below, although you can reach us through other social networking mediums. Let's go straight on to the first question, which is a TNA question from Danny Allmark. Do you think TNA will get better in their booking, creative, and advertising? Probably, maybe, but do I care anymore? No. I think one thing they do need to get better in is their advertising. I mean, that's number fucking one. I mean, if you can't get more than 200-300 people to one of your house shows, something's wrong with who you're hiring in the marketing department, especially if you can't highlight the fact that you're going to have fucking the Great Muta at one of your biggest pay-per-views of the fucking year.
Thing is, I'm going to give TNA credit, but take it away from them. I think they are trying their hardest to come up with whatever storyline that pops in their head or the WWE's head and try and use it. But to be honest, they're using all these great storylines, but no one's watching it.
Yeah, exactly. So what's the point? No, I mean, they're getting barely 1 million viewers a week now, and their ratings are plummeting, and still haven't signed a deal with Spike TV yet, so we don't know where they're actually going to be on TV come October. Let's just hope these, for the fucking sake of TNA, let's just hope these New York City shows they're going to be doing end up being a success. Theo Walcott, no doubt to play on Theo Walcott, who won't be going to the World Cup. Mr. Parkin, who should be the next Man United manager? You know, probably NJ, but unfortunately he knows nothing about football, but he probably still could have done a better job than David Moyes, probably because I'd be in his ear every fucking day telling him what to do. I mean, I think, you know, after hearing speculation that Van Gaal was going to get the job, I was a big fan of a name like Van Gaal coming in and sorting out. I mean, he just seems like one of those kind of managers to me that has had success in the past, has had European success, has had overall success in his career. And he just seems like the kind of guy who could just come in and sort out United's problems.
I've been getting, because it goes on at home, my dad watches it. I did do a bit of research on it, and the name that came quite popular was Vince McMahon.
yeah, right. What was he sending Shane to manage him or something? Apparently, he was interested in buying Newcastle United. I don't know why he'd be interested in buying a Geordie fifth-rate team, but there you go. Howard Starr. Why in the 90s did WWE mistreat Japanese wrestlers such as Funaki, Kaientai Tajiri, and Kenzo Suzuki? I mean, they didn't mistreat them. I mean, you know, Funaki, obviously, we all remember Funaki and Kaientai, and we all remember Tajiri, so they must have done something good with them. I mean, they were never going to be main events or anything because they couldn't speak English, a lot of them.
Again, Funaki, he went on, gave his comedy stuff. Taka had his time in the tag team. Tajiri, he was with Regal, Tori Wilson. He was actually being spotlighted in a good way. Kenzo, don't remember too much about. So I think they weren't treated that bad. What did you expect the WWE to do with them?
I mean, they were never going to be main eventers. They couldn't speak English. So what would that do for promos unless you gave them a manager or something? Ross Parks 183. NJ said to me that Bo Dallas should join Evolution. I disagree strongly. What do you think, Mr. Parkin? Well, let me just put it this way. If you'd give me that scenario, I wouldn't have believed you! Just saying. And I don't believe you came up with that either, unless you were joking. When talking about WWE, will you please stop using the dirty W word? It's an entertainment company. Damn it! What, you mean the word wrestling?
Vince McMahon's rule book now is growing month by month, and yes, we can't use wrestling, we can't use sport. Yeah, it's stupid.
Well, I mean, if they're trying to move into sports entertainment, sorry, I can't say sport. If they're trying to move into entertainment, then I don't see why I mean, they're wrestling. It's what they do. I mean, what are the guys doing in the ring? They're not doing sports entertainment. Dancing. They're doing wrestling. Just saying. Seeing as Brie Bella used the word bitch on Raw, I thought that we weren't allowed to use dirty words on Raw. Do you think the Attitude Era is coming? That's the best question ever! Do you think the Attitude Era is coming back? Oh, God. Do you think the Attitude Era is coming back? no, motherfucker!
Terrible.
Do you think the Attitude Era is coming back? Andrew Watson. When are WWE going to give faces multiple layers to their characters? Is it clearly the reason that heels get the face reaction, other than the Shield and to a minor extent Bryan, the rest are bland or comedic acts? Well, back in the Attitude Era, ladies and gentlemen, because it might be coming back, we don't know. In all seriousness, I don't really know. It just depends when the WWE says to themselves, man, these characters are getting really bland and people really can't relate to them. When are we going to, give them multiple layers to their characters? It is the reason why the heels get a face reaction, because they're always considered the underdogs to the baby faces half the fucking time.
The WWE are trying to bring in baby faces that us fans can slowly buy into, like Fandango is meant to go down a good way, Adam Rose is meant to go down a good way, Brodus Clay. So they're trying to bring in what's meant to be big and fans can get behind, but then obviously their progression explodes and the heels are staying strong in a way because the heels are in some way doing better.
I just want to apologise in advance if my answers to these following questions are shit. I just cannot get over that last question that we were doing. Is the Attitude Era kind of back? Johnny Castaway. With the upcoming split of the Brotherhood, WWE was heavily depleted its tag teams and have really dug themselves a hole. Create 3 or 4 new tag teams that you think would add depth to the tag team division again. Well, one straight away, the Ascension down in NXT. That's one. Any others you can think of? Maybe Tyson Kidd and somebody as a high-flying tag team.
Sandow and Cody again.
Sandow and Cody. It won't happen.
JTG and Shad.
That won't happen.
I wish.
I know, it's just wishful thinking, really, isn't it? I mean,
I think Justin Gable, he's a great performer.
Yeah.
So Justin Gable and
Tyson Kidd.
Tyson Kidd would be one, or bring back Alex Riley.
Yeah, I was going to say with Mason Ryan, but he's gone now. So Alex Riley and I was going to say Tyson Kidd, but he's already in a tag team. It's hard to really think of tag teams off the top of our heads here, people, because you could have, I guess you could have Alex Riley and Drew McIntyre or something like that. Maybe if you take Drew McIntyre out of 3MB. I don't know. What is your favourite faction in wrestling history? Oh boy. You could have NWO, you could have the Wolfpack, you could have Evolution, you could have the Radicals. There are so many wrestling DX. There are so many. What's your favourite wrestling faction?
Again, it is a clash between 2.
Let me guess. DX and Evolution.
I was so close to saying Nexus because of what Barrett brought to it, but no, it's between Evolution and DX.
As you went for Evolution or DX, I'm going to have to... I just want to say something different. The NWO was quite cool at the time. I still remember I wasn't really a regular watcher of WCW, but the Wolfpack was pretty cool back in, I believe it was 1999, 2000. I remember Kevin Nash being in there, and I've got a load of 1999 WCW videos, so I was kind of cool back then. When you as a kid now, it's just kind of like, oh, shit. Abdullah Shakar, 7. Do you think WWE is filler nowadays? Well, yes. I mean, you have maybe a feud involving Cena, a feud involving Orton, a feud involving Daniel Bryan. Used to have a feud involving CM Punk, maybe even the Shield, the Wyatt family. There are a lot of filler feuds in WWE that really have no importance. I mean, like, how long has this Fandango Santino fucking feud been going on for now? Forever. I mean, it's ended, but now it was going on for months and no one cared about it.
The sad thing is, I say this each and every week. It may get boring to hear because it's true. The WWE know who to concentrate on each and every week. But when it comes to what used to have some importance, the mid-card, the tag, the women, they don't really give it. They give the few spots on Raw, but it's the bigger parts that seem to be non-filler.
Guys, I don't like going back to the Attitude Era all that much, but one of the reasons why the Attitude Era was successful was because Vince Russo gave every character a storyline, so everything seemed like it had importance on the show. Therefore, there was a little bit there for everybody. That's just a random answer I thought I'd come up with there. Danny Allmark, do you think TNA, if it doesn't get their Spike TV deal renewed with will Dixie leave TNA? I don't really know. I'm not really sure of the consequences, whether TNA will find another provider who really knows. But they better sure hope that Spike TV strikes some kind of deal with them, because they just hired a company to do their dealings for them.
To be honest, if Spike doesn't do it, and to be honest, I know Spike said it's their biggest rated TV show, but I'm sure that there's a lower rated TV channel that might take TNA on.
To be honest, if it is one of their highest rated TV shows, which it's kind of debatable now. I heard Cops actually got more viewers the program on before TNA this last week. So if it is their highest rated TV show, then they should be locking them in months in advance. So it can't really be. If it's got to the point now where they're still deciding whether or not TNA is worth renewing, then there has to be some kind of problem. RFV089. Do you think that since Triple H has taken over the developmental territory, that NXT has produced more compelling and unique characters compared to FCW, who made characters who were really not that interesting? Oh, I remember some of the characters in FCW were so fucking stupid. I mean, to be honest, Bray Wyatt originated in FCW, but before that he was Husky Harris, and the gimmick sucked, especially as a babyface back in FCW. But I know exactly what you mean. Back in FCW, the characters were a little bit bland. In NXT, they seem to have sort of livened their characters up a little bit more. They've had like a, Tyler Breeze, Aiden English, loads of different gimmicks. Unfortunately, they're mid-card gimmicks. But they've had a load of gimmicks, different kinds, different varieties scattered around everywhere, which I would like to see more of on, Raw and SmackDown.
Again, Triple H, yes, he's had some talent which haven't really sparked the greatest amount of future interest. But yes, with the NXT as of recently, yeah.
I think it also helps that NXT gets a lot more exposure than FCW. FCW was on I think the Bright House Network for an hour every week on, I think it was Wednesday. No one really watched it. Now NXT is on the WWE Network, and I guess quite a few people are watching it after the rave reviews it's been getting. So it's just getting more mainstream exposure, so it means that WWE will want to do more, especially if people such as myself tune into NXT weekly. Have you watched the CM Punk documentary, and what are your thoughts on it? I quite liked it. It was very good. It's his story from the bottom up to the top in WWE, even though he technically wasn't really at the top.
But again, you expect a guy like CM Punk, who you've seen do great things many times, multiple times, to be able to produce alongside companies to make a good documentary.
Yeah. Deco5757. Why do you think the WWE continually fails to put on intriguing mid-card feuds, whether they be for a title or non-title? Do they not dedicate enough time? Is it just too randomly thrown together matches? It's probably because they want to focus on their main event scene, and a lot of effort, probably 90% of their effort goes into that, and about 10% of their effort goes into about 80% of the show. So that's what it is.
That's what I was going to say too. And it's a shame because, again, talk about the Attitude Era, which is the theme of this Q&A, you had concentration everywhere. Yes, the main event was still important, but the rest of the card had importance, and now the WWE know what's bringing them money, even though fans want to see the progression of the mid-card. It doesn't work.
Indeed. So it's just randomly thrown together feuds with, just challenger versus champion. No real storylines there for us to get invested into, which is a real shame because especially the IC title used to hold so much importance in the WWE back in the day. The Attitude Era, probably. Before and the Hogan Era, don't forget that. Before the Cody and Goldust tag team, people thought Cody was ready to be pushed to the main event. Although some people didn't agree with him joining the tag team, a lot of people, including myself, didn't mind because we thought that they would break up and give Cody that signature victory to catapult him to the main event. Would you agree with me in saying that WWE have waited far too long to break them up? Yeah. I mean, they're not really on TV that much anymore. And so I think, to be honest, they were on TV a decent amount of time, and then it got to like WrestleMania time, Elimination Chamber time, and they weren't really on TV because they weren't really in the Tag Team Championship picture. As soon as they went out of the Tag Team Championship picture, that is when they should have been doing it, to get them on TV in a feud.
To be honest, I think before they even got together a teasing a potential match against each other, they could have done it, maybe should have done it back then. But they went to a tag team, and yes, I think when they lost the championship and teased a breakup, teased a reason to fight each other, they should have done it. Even though the counter to that, I've said this multiple times, the WWE breaking up tag teams is a stupid idea when they've got limited tag teams.
Indeed. But we all knew at the end of the day that this tag team probably would have been done to put Cody Rhodes over eventually. And they probably still will do that. We don't really know yet. But I think one of the reasons they're not doing it is because Goldust right now is performing so well that they probably don't want to have a reason to take him off TV and just make him some singles guy without Cody, in my opinion. Why do WWE fanboys find joy in unjustly picking on TNA? Well, it's not all their fault. I mean, the problem is they've been watching WWE for so long, they've come to expect this and they've come to expect that. And when they watch TNA, it's just such a low-rate operation. And it just feels like a low-rate operation compared to the WWE, which is why they pick on it. I mean, we gave TNA a chance, and we, for a matter of time, liked TNA. We thought it was much better than WWE at some points. But now it's just got to the point where we just really can't watch TNA, and it's just terrible. And it's not because we're WWE fanboys. It's just because it's not very good, and that's our opinion, and we just decided not to watch it anymore because it wasn't fucking worth it.
Even though I love the WWE, I always have, when it came to TNA, even like I lasted a few months longer than Mr. Park in here.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And I still complimented quite a few aspects of TNA. There were still feuds I was interested in, wrestlers I was interested in, but when they started to go down the wrong direction and Dixie came back, everything started going crazily wrong for me. So it's came to a point now where TNA, you can see by what TNA have done since 2011.
Maybe 2012
to now.
Aces and eights onwards, basically, in my opinion. Robert Hernandez. With Sheamus winning the US Championship, could we see the title fixed up with the IC title? I would hope so, but I doubt that would happen. I don't see why WWE would do this.
This is 2 weeks after Payback. This is what I had conversations about. Barrett to interfere in Sheamus's match, costing Sheamus. He keeps the championship by disqualification. Then they don't face each other because it's Money in the Bank. They fight each other in Money in the Bank in the ladder match. Then at SummerSlam they have a unification match. I'm not sure it's happened because obviously this is 2 weeks after and we're doing two Q&As in one go. But that's how I would have done it. And I don't see what's wrong with unifying the Intercontinental because that forced the WWE to look at the mid-card wrestlers to make that championship work.
To a degree, yes, but at the same time, how many times have we seen Wade Barrett and Sheamus? Just don't care about that match anymore. Anyway, that's another Q&A from us, the British Fist. We will be doing many, many more Q&As in the future, as long as you guys, and they still haven't made their appearance yet, but what a surprise, they're not making an appearance on a mediocre YouTube channel like the British Fist. Keep sending us in your questions as we continue to do these Q&As, NJ.
And believe in the British Fist.